Hello students, this is packet 3 for May 11th through May 22nd. We're going to go over the packet. These are your new vocabulary: intensity, forfeit, retreated, ancestors, endurance, irritating, despised, and honor. Okay. Just like last time, I would like you to put a little check mark on the ones you actually know and kind of challenge yourself to see how many of these words you already know. And by knowing them, that means you are able to use it in a sentence and or in conversation if you needed to. Okay, and then you will just finish completing the sentence using the word they provide. Okay, remember you can change the tense of a verb the tense of the word if it's a verb. Okay, for example, irritating, if you wanted to change it to irritated, that would be okay, or retreat, depending on the tense, if you're speaking in past, future, or present tense. Okay, so you're able to do that. This should all be review. Then they give you the graphic organizer, and this week you are working with theme. So let's remember that theme is the lesson. Oops. Sorry. Is the lesson of the story. Okay. What is the author trying to teach you? Okay, so with this, remember that you have to obviously read the story, but really analyze it. Why is this story being told to you? So obviously it's going to have a lesson. So the main message, right? So remember, it can be good versus evil, or never be mean to your friends because you can lose them, or be kind to animals, or leave animals in their natural habitat. We have read many stories in our class where we have spoken about theme. So you're going to use this graphic organizer with the generation belt. Okay, and I wanted to kind of go over this, so you can skip over this if you don't want to hear my voice, but I wanted to read over it so you have an understanding. Okay, it says, Canty snuck behind her village's circle of wigwams. One Algonquin family was repairing their home with fresh birch bark strips. Canty stayed in the shadow of the trees until she reached the lake. She could see her father's sleek canoe far off in the distance. He was fishing for their dinner. Her cousins were splashing merrily near the shore and waved to her. She stepped into the water. Canty, an irritated voice said. Canty felt her heart drop to her stomach. She was caught. Canty's mother walked quickly toward her. Canty, you know that your grandmother is going to teach you today. It's so steamy outside. Why can't I swim with my cousins? She whined. Her mother looked sympathetic, but firm. Sometimes we have to set aside play so we can learn. Come, I think you will like this lesson better than you predict. Canty's grandmother looked dignified, sitting cross-legged in the center of their wigwam. Around her lay wide beaded belts of white and purple with all kinds of vivid designs. In front of her was a loom shaped like an archer's bow, with a few rows of beads strung. Thanks for coming, Canty. There was a mischievous glint in her grandmother's eye. She held a few small purple beads. Do you know what these are? That's easy. They're wampum. Sometimes Canty would help collect the quahog or clams the beads were made from. I actually meant, what do the beads stand for? Canty's grandmother said. Here, let me show you. She held out one of the most elaborate belts for Canty to see. The purple beads made a pattern of triangles on the right side. On the left side, two figures stood holding hands next to the wigwam. These people are your great-great-grandmother and grandfather. she said. They travel over the mountains to find a place to settle. She traced the triangles with her fingers, stopping at one with the outline of a majestic bird hovering over it. Your great-great-grandmother saw an eagle that led them through the mountains. A circle of the edge of the mountains represented the lake that fed the village. When they found a wide lake, they knew it would support many people. This is how our village began. Despite herself, Canty was drawn in by the story the belt portrayed. Suddenly, the belt's patterns jumped out at her, all holding adventures of their own. She looked at the loom with a scant 5 rows completed. "What story will this belt tell?" she asked. "This belt will tell your story," her grandmother said. "I started it for you, and you can continue to add to it as you grow." With that, her grandmother carefully stacked the belts and left. Canty immediately set to work concentrating on finding just the right shades of purple, wampum before stringing together rows. The purple beads became a figure about to leap into a calm lake. She couldn't wait for her cousins to come back so she could show them her new belt. Okay, and then you have some questions here, and please remember to answer in complete sentences using race. Okay, so restating the question, answering the question, and if you can, throw in some examples from the text, some text evidence. Okay, so why can't Canty swim with her cousins? You would restart. Canty can't swim with her cousins because such and such, which says it in paragraph 3 or 2. Okay, that would be a good way to kind of go back to your annotations. Okay, then you have your genre and literary element practice. So again, you're working with historical fiction, and they want to know, how do you know it's historical fiction, right? How do you know that? So that's for that one. Then we have connotation and denotation. Now this might be a little bit confusing for you to kind of understand the difference. So denotation, remember the D, and I always remember it because that's the official definition of the word. So sometimes words have a slight different meaning. Sometimes we mean them in a positive way. Sometimes we mean them in a negative way, and that would be the connotation. But the denotation is the actual definition. Okay, so here what you need to do is see the word. What is the denotation? The actual meaning of sleek. Okay, and how does the story kind of describe sleek? And that would be your connotation. Okay. So a little bit tricky on this page. Try your best, okay? Try your best because you are working with words in the story, so you will need to go back and reference the story, maybe highlight these, and also read around for context clues to do that. And then you're working with prefixes. These are my favorite because all of these prefixes mean numbers, okay? So like a unicycle would have 1 wheel, but a bicycle would have 2. A tricycle would have 3. Okay, a decade means 10 years. If we think of a meter stick, it would have 100 centimeters. Okay, so these are all prefixes that mean a number and reference a number. Okay. You have some writing here that you can enhance and practice your writing, as well as this page. Okay, and it says, Elena used text evidence from 2 different sources to respond to the prompt. Write a dialogue between, Omakayas and little B, what they heard during the adults' conversation. Okay, so it's telling you what to circle, what to draw, what to underline. And then you have your cursive. I'm very curious how you are doing in your cursive. Are you practicing, or are you using Typing Club? Okay, so maybe you can share with me if you have been practicing your annotations. And These are just symbols. To be honest, I'm going to tell you right now, I've never really, or I don't remember learning cursive using symbols. So that's just a little thing. Okay, I will create a new one for math.